Hey everyone, so I just got done playing this match against Dirtleberg, but it turns out I made a mistake and I didn't have my game capture screen turned on, so I got all the audio but none of the visuals. And this was a really unique game, so I really don't want to lose the video, so I'm going to kind of just do an overview here of what happened and how it played out. So this is my board here, and my starting hand was Kingbird, Broad-winged Hawk, and then a bunch of other predator birds. And Yellowhammer was in the tray, and a couple other things I didn't really care about. But my only wetland option was the eastern kingbird. So I ended up keeping the hawk, the kingbird, a worm, a rat, and a wheat. And I went first, and I grabbed the Yellowhammer out of the tray. I wasn't too happy with my start. Conversely, I think Dirtleberg kept like a rat, a cherry, and a worm, and this is their final board. And it kind of made me think maybe they had a raven in their starting hand. That ended up not being true. So round one for me was just getting the... I sacrificed the turn one play on the Kingbird to secure the Yellowhammer, and they did play Chipping Sparrow as their first bird, so I missed out on that worm. And I didn't like seeing that Chipping Sparrow because it's such a good card. I ended up getting down the Kingbird, the Broad-winged Hawk, the Yellowhammer. I didn't get any cavity nests for the round one goal here, but neither did Dirtleberg, so we broke even at 0 on that one, so I was happy about that. I was able to... At the end of round one, I believe I had the food, and I dropped Yellowthroat off the Yellowhammer. I had drawn into that, and I was pretty happy with that. I hadn't seen the killdeer at this point. And I drew cards a couple of times. I think I drew into killdeer at that point. I actually, now that I say it out loud again, I did draw into killdeer before the end of round one. So that may have been my last activation or so, can't recall for certain, but I did have killdeer right away at the end, or I had it right away in my hand at the start of round 2, but I didn't play it immediately in round 2. And then just trying to recall from memory here, shortly there I did get the killdeer down. I started drawing cards and laying eggs and getting food, and I drew into the barn swallow. Happy to see that. I think the start of the round 3 tray was Benelli's Eagle in there. I was happy to see that, so I grabbed that, and I'm feeling pretty good at this point, where I've got killdeer, barn swallow, Benelli's Eagle. So I had a really bad start, but it turned into a really good mid-game with good prospects on the late game. At the end of, I think it was the end of round 3, or the end of round 2, I believe it was, I dropped the barn swallow off the Yellowhammer. And then I was subsequently able to get the cedar waxwing out of the tray. And then I drew into the tufted titmouse and the European goldfinch. So I played that double play for points, and then just ended my game laying eggs. And I was feeling pretty good about this in the mid-game, but as Dirtleberg started playing some of these big point birds, I started feeling less and less confident. They set up a pretty good forest early, the Chipping Sparrow and the Chickadee, and they managed to get the Great Horned Owl down. And they also played Mallard in round 1, so they had a strong early game forest engine going here for food and eggs and caches. And then they had the Mallard for extra card draw. And early on, they actually picked up Griffin Vulture out of the tray and played it, which at the time I thought was a little strange, because there really wasn't a lot of predators on the board. There was my Broad-winged Hawk, and I think they had their Great Horned Owl by that point. But as the game progressed, and Dirtleberg started dropping, Eleanor's Falcon, White-faced Ibis, I started to get a little more worried about that hawk. And then by the end, they had dropped Whooping Crane for a bonus card, which worried me quite a bit. they really felt like they were catching up on points. They were securing the round goals here, round 2 and round 3. That didn't make me feel very good. So I could feel the game slipping away. They ended with red crossbill, which I thought was a bit of a strange play that late in the game, but it does line up with the 3rd round bonus. And then I don't know if they had the Starling in hand at the time, but their last 3 or 4 plays or so was crossbill for Ruginus Hawk in common Starling, and I was wondering if they were going to try to compete with me on the 4th round goal, birds in the grasslands, and I already had 5 birds there at that point. I didn't think they were going to bother, but they started encroaching, and I thought maybe they would try to go for it, but they didn't in the end. But they were able to, gain extra food, tuck a card, and I did get a couple. I got 1 point off the goldfinch, it looks like. So that was a solid play for me. It was stronger than running my grasslands engine. You can see here I came up short on 6 eggs. But at the end, they were able to convert a bunch of their excess food into tucks on the Starling. And this vulture, man, really brought it home for them. 11 points. Cage off the Whooping Crane. They ended up pulling Visionary Leader, and they drew 10 cards into their hand to max it out. That's not something you see every game, so that's 7 points they picked up. And then, of course, all those big fat birds they had. Large bird specialists to max out. So it was just... It was a demoralizing defeat. You get that good grasslands engine, killdeer, barn swallow, cedar waxwing, you're tucking cards, you're laying eggs, as we all know you do, and I got a respectable score of 93, but Dirtleberg was just able to dominate on the bird points, dominate on the bonus card points, squeaked out a few more on the round goals. I got it. My phone is activating off my voice here. Thanks for interrupting my video phone. Anyways, I came way ahead on eggs, but they were able to really cancel them. So eggs and tucks I really came ahead on. That was my engine. But they really brought it back home with their caching and tucks themselves. So, yeah, a pretty unconventional game in my opinion. They did a good job of playing everything they needed. Of course, I backed out of the game here. But, yeah, the way their game developed, forest, wetlands, kind of that classic fork formation as I refer to it. Those games I don't see win that often, at least when I play them or play against them, especially in the face of classic killdeer tucking grasslands. But it may have been that my slow start cost me the game. Not to take credit away from my opponent, they played very well. They did everything they needed to do in order to win, and they just had the right cards. Griffin Vulture brought it home. Nothing really more to say about it. So good game to Dirtleberg. Very unconventional game. It was very interesting. That's why I'm bothering to do this post-commentary analysis of our boards, because I really didn't want to lose this game. So I'm trying to salvage the analysis as best I can. So hopefully you found this quick and off-the-cuff analysis of these boards useful. And thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for more games from the Wingspan World Cup.